Okay.
My most memorable wildlife encounter is definitely my encounter with the whales. I can tell you about it. So I, living near East Cliff, I took a lot of walks by the ocean, and at that time it was 2013 in October. There was a lot of whales pretty close up, and they were just spectacular, and I just was walking by and watching them all the time. And I did notice that some people out in kayaks and stand-up paddle boards were out there and, getting pretty nice close-up views of the whales. And I don't know, I just thought, I have never actually surfed before. I have not even really gone out into the ocean really, but I decided that I was gonna go out. So I had a wetsuit and a short board, and I went out early in the morning because that's when I usually walk. And it was a full moon, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful morning. And so I went out, like I said, pretty early. No breakfast, no beverage, nothing. I just went out with no plan, and so I was on 38th, and I paddled out, and it was pretty far. I don't really know how far. I'm not good with measurements, and I didn't see anything, and I was just like waiting and waiting, and I didn't see anything, and it was probably quite a while, but it was pretty exciting because I've never been really in the ocean before, well, like on a surfboard. And so the seals would come right up to me, and it was kind of scary, but after a while I got used to it. And otters and dolphins, like some dolphins swam right by me, and I could hear them breathing, which was really exciting. And all the birds and even a sea lion. And it was, after a while I got okay. I was okay with seals. I mean, they come right up. They're just like poke their head up like they're little puppy dogs. So anyway, so I was out there, and finally I saw some whale activity out in Capitola, by the Capitola Wharf. And at that point, I thought, well, maybe I'll head that way, maybe. So I started paddling out a little bit. And then I said, it's just too far, and they're not coming. So I was going to turn around. So I was basically just turning around, and then I looked back one more time, and I saw that they were actually coming my way. So I just waited, and I waited for a while, and they were all underwater. And then all of a sudden, I could hear them, and I could see movement under the water, and then there they were. They surrounded my little surfboard, and there was probably, I don't know, maybe four or five, and they were just there, and my arms and legs were hanging off my surfboard, but I wasn't scared at all. I was just too amazed and excited to even think about being scared. And one of them, of the whales, like came up with his full head, came out and mouth opened up, and all the like birds were flying around right when his mouth opened, and that was pretty cool. And so they were there for a little while, and then they started to leave, and so I started to leave. And at that point, the sun was out really, really bright, and I realized that I hadn't had anything to eat or anything to drink, and it's been hours, and I have to paddle all the way back. And so I started paddling, and the seals were following me, made me feel safe, but I was really losing strength, and I still had a long way to go. And I remember thinking to myself, well, if I die, that's okay, I just had this amazing experience. So I just kept going and working my way through, and I didn't actually think, I just ran out of energy. I was like completely empty. But I started getting closer, and there's like a little bit of a surf, so I caught a little surf and landed in the beach, and then I don't know if anyone's seen the movie, oh God, no, I can't remember the movie, with Sandra Bullock, and she was out in space, and then she finally got into land, and she's stumbling around, like barely able to stand up. Well, that's exactly how I felt. I just couldn't get my bearing, and then I had to climb all the way up the stairs, and so I climbed up the stairs, and then at that point I said I needed water. Should I go to the restroom at which is probably half a block, or should I walk all the way home, which was probably 5 or 10 minutes? So I decided to walk home, and like I just was in a daze, and I just got home, and then I had to take off my wetsuit, and my fingers were numb, and yeah, it was crazy, but I did it. I was really excited about it, and I'll never forget it. And that's my whale tale.